Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana Live on Metro TV. And it's time to speak about the extractive sector of this republic. And there's a time with the CEO of the Minerals Commission. And has been away for a while, but he's here with us today. Mr. Martin Ayisi is the CEO of the Minerals Commission. Good morning, Martin.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good by the special grace of God. I hope you're doing well too.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Where have you been?
Oh, we went for some program.
Program? We're outside Ghana?
Yes.
About your sector?
Yes.
What was it about?
Bauxite, alumina.
Bauxite, alumina?
Yes. When you mine bauxite,
yes,
and you process bauxite,
yes,
you refine, you get alumina.
Okay.
And then we used to import processed bauxite, which is alumina, for vacuum.
Yes.
And then we send the bauxite raw. I think that's what the president is trying to reverse now. So you need to know, how these things, operate. It's kind of a small market. So we went to get a lot of information. Interesting. I was surprised, and a lot of people. I was not surprised when people came telling us that they want our bauxite. That is of a high quality. Yes.
All right. Okay. So
shall be well.
Yeah. So today we intend to speak about what I refer to as critical minerals. I get confused a bit. In one breath, the literature speaks about critical minerals. In another breath, it speaks about green minerals. Are both the same? Are they used interchangeably?
Randy, we will explain all that.
Okay.
Green minerals, technology minerals, energy transition minerals,
hey,
they are all the same.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Is it all the different chemistry or nomenclature or whatever?
Yes.
But before that, permit me to run you through a few statistics.
Okay.
So I am just going through my 2021 report on local content.
Okay.
2021. Normally, when the year ends, by the beginning of the first quarter of the following year, they file the full report for the previous year.
So we should have 2022.
Then we are almost done with 2022.
Okay.
Because then we have to do an analysis and review before we come out. So many of them have filed their 2022 reports, the year that just passed. And we're going through them so that we'll put them together. So in the next 2-3 months, the report will be ready. Now, 2021, there are some interesting figures here. That time, the items on the list was 29. That's about 2 years ago. 29 items on the list. And just 13 leases. Just 13 leases. We normally operate with leases rather than company. Because you see, if you take Newmont, they have the Achim lease, and then they have the Ahafo. So Ahafo, if I call it Ahafo South now, they will file their report separately, even taxes. And then Achim will also file their report separately. So if you are looking at local content, you have to look at what Achim does separately from the mine at Kenya and Sea and for in Totro also separately.
Right.
Then, of course, you can put it together and look at the bulk figure for Newmont. But when we look at 13 leases for the 29 items, it came to about $1.7 billion.
Local content.
On goods and services.
Okay.
2021. Now, contract mining was about $1 billion. Fuel, $303 million. 2 years earlier, it was, if you like, permit me to use the term, free for all. Free for all. Okay? Until 2019, anybody could get into the fuel space and supply fuel. So the likes of Total, Vivo, and Co. And somebody says, do you hate them so much? I said, no. So that is it. And fuel was about 100 million. Now, Randy, this is what I want the public to understand. so that they look at the opportunities we are creating for Ghanaians. So prior to this report, 2021, I've not talked about 2022 yet. You have a scenario where 100 million was spent by the mining company, just about 14 of them leases on fuel. Everybody could get into that space. Then the following year, Minerals Commission comes out and says that we will no longer allow foreign companies to supply fuel to the mines. It has to be done by Ghanaians because there's nothing extraordinary about that. Now, here am I, the report submitted by my schedule officer says $303 million was spent on fuel supply to the mining companies. I've not added lubricants. This is 2021. Now, why do we have to celebrate this? What it simply meant was that if we did not add this to the list, this money, the bulk of it, will have been dominated by the foreign companies and they will repatriate the dollars. So just think aloud. I'll come back again maybe in a month or two. And don't be surprised.
2022.
Yes, don't be surprised for it will be 500 million. Now, I have been running my mouth for the past 1 month about 4 new operations, new expansions, and then redevelopment. So maybe in the next 3-4 years, fuel alone will become $1 billion industry just for the mining sector. This is how far we have come. So at least this 300 million stayed in Ghana here. So these are some of the changes that we have brought. Just 2 years. Catering, 26 million. Ghanaians do that. Then haulage, 83. Also preserve for Ghanaians. So fuel, 303 million Ghanaians. Haulage, 83 million Ghanaians. And then 26 million catering for Ghanaians. So these are some of the items. If you add these together, it can build Cardinal. Okay? I have not added lubricants which we have preserved for Ghanaians. So clearly, in a month or two, when I come and splash the 2002 report, you will see things, as we say in Ghana. This is 29 items. Then we moved to 41 the following year. That is just last year. So we added 12 new items and we jumped from 29 to 41. And what we did was essentially 2-3 things. Preserve more areas for Ghanaians that we thought we had capacity, or increase the percentage for more Ghanaians as capacity is growing, and then finally put new items on the list. And then just this year we have moved from 41 to 50. So 2021, 2 years ago, 29 items. Within a space of 2 years, we have moved from 29 items to 50. So maybe you will see magic when I splash 2023 reports, hopefully sometime next year. So next year, by this time, if I come and talk about 2023 reports, which will then be ready, you see how far we have come. This is this is one out of the several measures that we need to put in place to make sure that as much as possible, mining benefit this country and then it can lead to broad-based development. So that is just by way of figures.
Let me just ask you a question. One of the things that I remember when Nelson Mandela took over in South Africa was a black empowerment program. Now, years on, research shows that you had a lot of companies that looked black, but were indeed white. What it meant was that there was a lot of fronting. People have found a way of getting black names and black faces to front companies, and now the wealth indeed was still in the hands of the white people. Do we have a mechanism to ensure that indeed we say Ghanaian is Ghanaian?
We have a mechanism. Let me tell you something. Anything is possible. Even in America, the most advanced country, we're here, and then what do you call it? There was a Silicon Bank collapse.
Yes.
And then Republic Bank almost followed, and then some banks came back, and we're told one of the best countries that can manage banking stuff very well is Switzerland. Then what happened to Credit Suisse? So these things do happen. So if I sit here and tell you that it is not possible for fronting to happen, not just in my anywhere, then you're a fool, or I'm being a fool. But here's the issue. One, the measures or the sanctions in the law are so punitive that you not do it. And then two, you know something? It is these same Ghanaians who come and expose you. Many of the measures we have taken, it is coming from Ghanaians who are working in the mine. It is the Ghanaians who come and tell us that, oh, this expatriate has overstayed, or he came on a visited visa. Let me tell you something. And so just a few years ago, what could happen is this. These guys from America, US, South Africa, and co. will take a visited visa. Visited that one. Then they will come, like 3 months. Then they will come to the mine, as if they are coming to visit shareholders, or if like find me or something. Then before I realize, 6 months they are in the mine working. Okay, maybe it's on a 3 months visa, he renew. So 6 months. So the Ghanaians who work at the mine there got alarmed and realized that, something that was supposed to be like a 3-day or a 1-week visit to just check on us and then report to shareholders, you are here 3, 4, 5 months. Then they sounded the alarm and said, Minerals Commission. These people come here a week or two, they end up saying 6 months or 3 months, or they go and come back. Then quickly we change the rules. So now in Ghana, under the laws of Ghana, nobody can enter a mine unless you get approval from Minerals Commission. The only person who can enter a mine is unless you're an employee there, and we have the full list of all the employees, they file it with us. Or EPA. EPA and Minerals Commission inspectors have unfettered access to the mine. EPA, Geological Survey, and Minerals Commission inspectors. Apart from these 3 groups, nobody can enter a mine. Even any other public institution, if they want to enter a mine, they have to come to Minerals Commission and seek permission. It's just like if you want to enter a forest. You need the clearance from Forestry Commission before you can enter the forest. So even our inspectors, if they go to the areas where mining is lawfully being permitted. So because of this thing, we change the rules. And there are serious sanctions if we find out. The Ghanaians will expose you. Because you see, they are saying the beautiful changes that are coming. So no Ghanaian will sit down and realize that, I went for contract A. And from company C, I've done my best, I put in everything. Maybe either me or another company should have won. Then they gave it to company Z, only for me to realize that my fellow Ghanaian is fronting for a Chinese, a South African, or a Canadian. They will expose you, and they do that a lot. So thumbs up for Ghanaians who do that. So yes, I will not rule out and sit here and say everything is watertight. It can happen, but when it happens, they will blow the lid. The same Ghanaians will expose you, unless, like my father said, even if an ant should mate with another ant in the hole, if nobody saw it, at least it's known to the hole. So the Ghanaians were exposed, because you see, the immigration people don't go there every day. Random or once in a while they check and all those. So that's my answer to the issue on the fronting. It's a serious matter. When we get to know, the company will pay dearly for it. Yes. And recently, I sent a directive to all the mining companies that they should advertise all the contracts. Everything should be advertised. If they require some special dispensation for a particular reason, you get Minerals Commission approval. Why? Because some Ghanaians came to complain to me that some were doing selective tendering. So maybe they'll invite about 6 or so companies and then go through with them. Maybe 1 or 2 get the jobs. So if you have about 20 companies registered to provide that particular activity, the other 12 that were not taking, they got peeved. So people just notify us. And then we brought it to attention of that particular company in particular. And then I issued a directive. So I've seen some adverts recently in the papers. Now they've started advertising. Some do it beautifully, but I see it. And then I've just seen one by Newmont. They've advertised for a particular project, and they said exclusively Ghanaian shareholders, exclusive Ghanaian directors. That is it. So when it comes to our notice, we have to deal with it. Okay. But it's Israel, the most security conscious nation in the world, Prime Minister Rabin was shot at close range. So you can't rule out anything. All
right. Okay. I see that a 2021 performance is
very encouraging. Very my favorite fuel.
Great spirit.
Oh yeah, very fuel. It's encouraging. So you see the damn ignorance. All that people know is that mining, they give them license, they go and dig somewhere. Even we hear government has 10%, they just pay some low royalties. If they like, they pay corporate tax, they destroy the environment and they go away. Now, just 13 leases when the items were 29. This is what local content bought, 1.6 billion. Government as a state did not get this from all taxes and royalties put together. So it tells you that as we push more on local content and then we work more on ownership, and there are several ways by the way you can handle the ownership issue. Encourage them to list on the stock exchange. Not even encourage, the law backs us. Advise Ghanaians, push so that they also get into picking up licenses and doing. Now Ghanaians are owning some mines. At least I'm proud that bauxite is now 100% Ghanaian and state-owned. Adamus, Ghanaian and state-owned. So we want to see more of this. So as we push the ownership thing, either through listing or individual placement or people buying shares, we deepen local content, and then we handle this our small-scale issue. We'll get there. And then local content. So for me, if you ask, my priority is 5. We do more work on ownership so that Ghanaians get to own mines. Okay? Then stock exchange route is there. You also picking up licenses there. That's one. We deepen local content. That's the low-hanging fruits. That's also the second one. We do more of value addition. It's everything. That's the only way to get there. And then small scale. Because of the numbers involved. Over 3 million, 13 regions. Okay?
The small scale is so disorganized.
It's not disorganized.
That's what creating problems for
Randy,
us.
I'll tell you something, you will be shocked. If I sit and tell you that there are no problems, I'm deceiving you. But the small scale miners in this country are more organized than TUC.
No, I don't mean.
No, you said disorganized.
When I say disorganized,
in terms of the environmental challenges.
Yes.
Look, I will not deny that. But let me give you a picture. There are 2 things that government is doing through Minerals Commission, through our ministry. All the measures government have put in place, are essentially anchored on 2 pillars. Just before we come to these critical or green minerals, we have the enforcement mechanism, and then we have the reforms. Enforcement. We said, water body, don't go there. People prefer to go there 11 a.m., 12 a.m., like the time the armed robbers rob. And then by 4, they are out. By now, they are out. So the only thing is to send the military there. Because you see, there are some people, no matter what you do, they will still get involved. So that is an ongoing exercise. The military is handling that because we don't get into security issues. That is somebody's job. We just have to work together. It's a multifaceted or sectoral thing. So that is part of the enforcement mechanism. Another issue is that we will need to force people to do it properly, or as my minister would say, responsibly. And I'll give you success stories. We are also as impatient as anybody as a nation. So I kept talking about Bongo. You go to Bongo Soin, they were illegal miners working underground. Illegal miners. So to borrow your word, disorganized. Illegal miners digging. Fortunately, underground. So it is not as environmentally intrusive like if it's an open pit. They were there working on the license of a company. So the chief came to the Minerals Commission and said, look, we want to do it lawfully. I said, hallelujah. He said, what does it take? Don't worry, we'll talk to the company and then get that area carved out. We got the place carved out. We licensed them. They've gotten EPE. We send them 2 good catches, which is costing almost about 300,000. They work and pay anyway. Minister went and launched the place in January this year. So that was the first place that we launched. So you see, in an answer to your question, here a group of over 100 people who were once doing it, in a very disorganized manner, now through government, They have been lawfully permitted and they are working. So now Bongo Soin is history. That's an answer to you. 2, Wa East. The DC came to see me with the chiefs and people, Mawen traditional area. I went there myself. I was hosted by the DC and the regional minister. We have covered a place for them. We've sent them 2 good catches. They are the DC's assembly now. They are putting up their structures. Maybe in the next month or 2, they'll be ready. Minister will go and launch. So they will also move from the realm of illegality to legality. Properly organized now. The next stop is Bole, where the former president comes from. There are some villages. In fact, there's a place called Kolof. We have 3,000 people working there. 3,000 working underground. They are all, as we speak now, they are all illegal miners. The officer went there, did a report. Fortunately, the place was available. We said, no, we are not sending the military to come and evict you. Because at least it was underground. What are we doing? We are working on a license. We have sent 3 gold catchers to the Bole DC, a lady. She's holding them. They are preparing their structures. A month or 2, it will be ready. So my answer to you is that those disorganized small-scale illegal miners in Bongo, in Bole, Wa East, and then my next stop is Sapeliga in the Zongori belt. They are now probably being assisted by government to do it responsibly. That is my answer.
So, CEO, the places you refer to are the new areas.
They are new areas. Yes, they are new areas.
What we read about,
yes,
what we see, what is also of a very major concern are the old areas, especially in the south, where we see a lot of devastation, the forest cover, the water bodies, and all that. We don't hear of these stories.
Ronnie, 3 things. Pra and Cobra and Co. Yes, they were devastated, Alluvia and Co. The Chinese came in. The military are there now. Now, do you know what we have realized? The issue is not so much over the years, and that's the intelligence we got from the security apparatus that go on this operation to evict them. Then now what we have realized is that it's not so much about the main Pra or Cobra. Okay? Now the real action is the various tributaries that feed into these rivers. So you can have so many tributaries and then tributaries of tributaries. They are in the bush there. And these areas are inaccessible. So the only place the military can reach is through these boats, and sometimes they drop from the heli. They wash there into those ones, and then it goes into the, what do you call it? That is why we all of a sudden we saw the water bodies being cleaned up, okay, because of the massive job the military is doing. Then when the rain started, we saw that things were also, going bad again. Then the report that came was that people have been working upstream in the tributaries, and then they wash, and then when the rains come, they put them into the main one. The security agencies are handling that. Government is equipping them to deal with that part of the problem. Now, this issue I talk about in Bongo Soin, Sapeliga, Wa East, and Co. that we are doing it in the south too. Last week, Afransi and Mansi East, they were illegal miners. They have been assisted to do it properly now. So we are doing it in the south too. Except that in the north, it is a bit different because of the nature of the geology. Many of them are underground. So you don't see this water situation as pervasive in the north like in the south. But we'll get there. It's not an overnight thing. It is not a joke. Anybody, that's why normally I don't do politics. I don't talk this way. But trust me, nobody should do politics with small scale. You can't handle it. It's like cocaine or what do you call it, Mexico or Colombia. What is it that the US people didn't do? What amount of money that they didn't pump into Mexico and Colombia? Even flying in planes to go and destroy the poppies, whatever they want to call them. What is it that the US has spent billions? Colombia and Mexico and Co. They've not resolved it. So I have never spoken this before, because when I come here, I don't mix politics with my job. My job is to implement government policy and then do our work very well. But my advice to everybody, individual or political parties, don't do politics with small scale, because when you make the slightest mistake and you make an unguarded statement, it will eat you forever. That's my advice. That one goes to everybody, whether an individual or not. Don't mix politics with small scale. Let government do its job, which they are doing very well. I have a lot of examples I'm giving you, and I have about 30. My target is 30 this year, Minerals Commission, to formalize illegal miners in 30 sites and move them to the realm of illegality. Where government has given us money, bring more gold catchers, we are doing that. They barely get 40% with mercury. The gold catchers, they get everything. That was the picture I showed you the other time. So let us do our work. But I'm the first person to admit that the problem will not be solved overnight. My minister has told you that the problem will not be solved overnight. But at least government has a lot to show that we are on course. Yes. It's just that we are just, evil people, some of us. Because I am still struggling to understand why a group of people will get up and then you decide that 12 a.m. Why won't 12 a.m. you go to the water body and go and work and leave 4 a.m.? Why will you do that? And you run it. The thing gets complicated when you have an entire community doing it. It's like a policeman who is coming to effect an arrest here because maybe somebody has assaulted somebody at Metro, God forbid. Then you have about 400 Metro staff coming out. It will be difficult for the policeman to effect arrest. If there are about 2 or 3, either they go and bring reinforcement, or if they look at the scene, I'm not a policeman, but today I'm pretending to be. Or they may have to go back. Or maybe mount a soup and go and arrest a guy another time. You can't go and arrest, like you go to some community, you're going to arrest one person, then you have 400 or 500 people there. Just because of one person, you might even end up killing people, etc. It's the same thing here. So, we are just a difficult people. Yes, so we will assist. Government is prepared to assist those who want to do it properly. That's our job. Income and geological survey, and we are on course. We also have a responsibility to make sure that the water bodies are clean. Now, yes, the last answer, areas that have been devastated, what do? We clean up. So a lot of reclamation is going on. 2 weeks' time, I'll come and show you some documentary. As to areas that have been reclaimed so far, it is wonderful they've been replanted. These things will take time. But we are our own enemies. All these things happen because we have kept quiet. Like somebody will say, there's a famous statement also, I don't know whether it has to do with democracy or something, or injustice, that the worst person is the person who stood by and did nothing. That is it. So that is it. They are doing their work.
Let's get critically green.
Yeah, let's get critically green. Randy. Green minerals, etc. What is all these critical minerals that is taking the entire world by storm?
Why do we have different names? Why?
I'll explain why we have different names.
You even give me what is it, technological?
We have technology minerals, green minerals, energy transition minerals, etc. I'll give you the reason. But you see, let's step back a little bit and understand what is pushing all these things.
Right.
The entire world has come to the hard truth, the bitter truth. Some people still disagree anyway, but at least there is this general consensus that the temperature of the earth is rising. So-called global warming. It's all, yes, and it's not good for us. What are some of the implications or ramifications? Those islands in the Pacific will disappear. Maldives and co. Because once sea level rises, they will disappear. That's one. There will be drought, there will be flood, etc. Okay? So, as a global community, we need to do something. So the argument is that, look, we have to make sure that at least we keep the temperature of the earth below 2 degrees. At best, or the overall goal is that as much as possible, if we can keep it up to 1.5, then that's okay. So there is that consensus. Forget about those who disagree with global warming, but at least there is that consensus. Now, scientists have been able to demonstrate and prove that it is certain human behavior, okay, that is causing all this. And it all boils down to primarily the kind of energy we use. So here we are, everything, the primary source of energy in South Africa is coal. Primary source of energy in China is coal. China is 22% of the world's population. The population of China is more than Africa. Australia is all coal. US has 224 coal mines, my last check. So coal, we are told, is the dirtiest or is the most polluting of all those ones. So there is coal. And of course, the normal petrol and diesel, fossil fuels generally, they all pollute. So whether it is petrol and all those things, or even gas pollute, except that coal is worse. And then we are told that these energy sources emit certain greenhouse gases. These are responsible for the global warming thing. So if we need to do that, then too, we will need to reduce the use of this energy. If possible, change altogether. So then enter cleaner energy sources now. What are these cleaner energy sources? So then let's do more of solar. Let's do more wind. People are also saying that since the use of petrol and diesel and coal also contributes to these greenhouse gases, then why don't we go green? Electric vehicles. Are you getting the argument? So this is where we are coming from. Even people are saying, why don't you also go nuclear, which comes from uranium, because that one there's no emission of greenhouses. Now, for you to shift from these current energy sources that are very unfriendly to the globe and move to clean energy, the use of clean energy technologies like solar, wind, and all those things, then you need to change the technology. You understand that? And it has been discovered that many of these technologies that you need for this clean energy to combat climate change boils down to certain minerals. That is the argument. You see the connection here? Yes, it boils down to the certain minerals. So, for instance, International Energy Agency, IEA, says that you need 6 times more mineral input in an electric car, in electric vehicle, the one Tesla and Go have been making, than this normal conventional car you and I drive. Now, wind farm onshore, you need 9 times more minerals than if you're using a gas-fired power plant, same capacity. Do you got it? So we got to go green, renewables. Okay? And these are the minerals you need for this technology. So hence, green minerals. You see, that's 1. 2, these same minerals are also needed for certain modern technologies that will also help combat climate change. So the battery you want to put in a car, lithium. Okay, the vehicle itself is aluminium. You need a lot of nickel, manganese, and coal. So some people say technology minerals. You see it now, because flat screen, optic fiber cables, semiconductors, mobile phones, laptops, all these things, you have to use these minerals. Okay, all this technology. Okay, spacecraft, defense, even health applications, all this modern technology. These are mobile phone, laptop, optic fiber cables, semiconductors, that makes life easy for us, all of us now. It's all technology. What do you use in making these magnets and the inputs and the components in them? They are coming from these minerals. So some people also call them technology minerals. As for the green, I've explained it. Called the renewable. This is the source. And then, of course, some people also say energy transition minerals. We want to move away from these fossil fuels that pollute and causing global warming to the renewables that are less polluting, that do not emit any greenhouse gases like solar. We're going to go green, like solar, like wind and coal. We have to be green. And the technologies for the solar cells, the technology for the wind, and all those, and the components you use in doing all these things come from these minerals. So if you want to go green, these are the technology. If you want to get, these things done, then you need these minerals to make the components and the parts. So hence, green minerals, technology minerals, energy transition minerals. Okay. Are we good?
All right. So I guess that they should explain all the stuff that.
So interchangeably,
so it depends on where you are. Yes. Where you're coming from.
It's a fact.
I'm saying that the terminology you use depends on the context within which you're.
Yes, you're and now but then let me just say one thing. Then why are we saying critical now? Because I've explained why green. Yes. I've explained why some people call it technology minerals. Why some people also call it energy transition minerals. Because we want to move from this fossil fuel-based kind of energy to the other one. Now, critical in the sense that it's based on two things. One, that these minerals are so vital to modern technology and economy of a lot of countries. And then two, most importantly, the potential that the supply chain can be disrupted. I will explain that. So, for example, if you take a country like Japan, world class, they are noted for automobiles, even US, okay? Or you take South Korea, they do these semiconductors and all this high-tech stuff. Now, remember, you don't need to be a producer to call these minerals critical.
Yes.
Okay?
You rely on them.
Yeah, you rely on them. So for Japan, all these minerals that are needed for these various components, these magnets that they use for this, their modern technology, I mean, these laptops and all those things, it is critical to them. So are you understanding the word critical
during
now?
COVID,
Yeah.
During COVID, the price of automobiles shot up because a small component that is used in the manufacturing of vehicles, I mean, the supply chain is disrupted.
So it's critical to them. So they've come out with a strategy. How do we get this? US, that price themselves in defense. Most of these things are also used in defense. They have a tall list. Okay? If you look at the critical mineral list for US, EU, UK, and Japan and South Korea, some of the minerals are widespread. Practically everybody has lithium. What is also critical to somebody is not critical to another person. So, for example, if you take the French, uranium is a critical mineral for them. For them, it's strategic. Because over 70% of their energy sources is nuclear. They don't produce uranium. It comes from uranium. So they will not joke with the likes of Niger, or maybe Namibia, or Kazakhstan, or Canada, or Australia. These are the major producing areas of uranium. So you see, their policy will be such that let's be friends with these areas that produce these, or these countries that produce these minerals. So people are cutting all kinds of deals. That's what they are doing. Okay? So that is why we said critical. Now, unfortunately, a country like China is way ahead of everybody.
With
so
what?
Everything. So let me give you a few statistics. So take a country like China. Now, the biggest producer of lithium in the world now is Australia. A little over half. Then Chile. So if you have Chile and Australia, you're talking about 75% of the world's lithium. There's a place they call the Lithium Triangle, where the borders of Chile, Bolivia, and Argentina converge. Okay? So Chile produces about 25%, Australia 55%. Now, China has only 8% reserves of lithium. They produce 13%. But when it comes to downstream and midstream, they dominate. So China, for example, cathode, what they use, 78%. The whole world. Then the cell for the batteries and all those things, 70%. That's one country. And then when it comes to when you process, when you dig up the lithium, okay, you put in a chemical plant to get a hydroxide or the carbonate. China produces 44%. So downstream and the midstream, 44, 78, 70%, one country. And when it comes to rare earths, which are also used apart from these minerals, they control over 90%. So for EU, for US and co, that's China, if you like, for want of a better word, an adversary. This is critical for them. So there is this rush and race to look for other sources. So you will see US, Canada, Australia and co, all of them are developing strategies to see how we can get this one so that Chinese don't bully us. Because you see, if China decide now I'm not going to export anything, they will have problem with the rare earths. Or if they will say, okay, we control the box, so we'll make sure that we handle the downstream. Or even take another one, cobalt. Cobalt like this, are you aware that about 2/3 come from DRC? Cobalt, a critical mineral. That's one country. So it means that if there's a war or there's some governance issue or there's a problem in DRC, for example, that would be a problem for us. So critical in the sense that possibility of the supply chain being disrupted because just a few countries either control the production or the downstream activities. And then the fact that many of these minerals are vital to the economies of these countries. Now let me now run you through what examples of these minerals.
So just hold on.
Yes.
Just hold on. I want to speed it up Because we don't have much time.
Yes.
I want to speed it up.
We'll continue next week, don't worry.
So I just want to bring us a bit closer.
Yes.
Do Fiasem.
What do you have here?
All the things you've told us.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I take our flag, and I see the red, which they say is the blood and toil.
You see the yellow?
I see the yellow, which is supposed to be the mineral. So the Gold Coast, which is Ghana. And then there's a green, but the green is the forest cover.
Uh-huh.
Do we have a green coast? We had a Gold Coast in the past. We're talking about the current and the future. Is there a green coast in Ghana?
By that, what do you mean?
Do we have green minerals?
Oh, yes. Plenty. But first, let me run through the common ones, and then we'll come home, like Dufiasem, or somebody will say, cry, I won't cry.
Yes.
So, lithium is one example. Manganese. Bauxite.
Manganese is old.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you examples of green minerals generally, or critical minerals. So, manganese, lithium, cobalt, copper, nickel, bauxite, vanadium, zinc. These are all green minerals. And then several rare earths. Now the question is, do we have some of them in this country? Yes. One, we have lithium. Now there's one big discovery. Fantiman Ewoya, world class. The grade is world class. That's one of the big 4 mines I talked about. So we have lithium. Apart from the main discovery in Infantiman, other parts of central region, Ashanti, and then the rest of Ghana look very prospective for more discoveries. So a lot of people are doing exploration now for lithium. So yes, we have one of them, the most sought after lithium in Ghana. Very soon we'll get into production. That's it. 2, we have manganese. Currently, we have a main manganese mine at Insuta.
I know the manganese place at Takwa.
In Suta.
No,
in Suta.
Takwa, there's a manganese
No,
place.
in Suta.
Yes.
It's in Suta in Western region. Not
Yes.
Takwa. Takwa is gold.
Yeah, when you go past, there's a okay. I think it's their clubhouse or something.
It's in Suta.
Okay.
In Suta in the Western region. That's where we have the main manganese.
There's
mine.
a Ghana manganese company.
Yes, Ghana Manganese
Old
company. Yes,
Okay.
yes, Ghana Manganese Company.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's exploration going on aggressively for manganese in Savannah region.
Which part of Savannah?
Savannah region, there's a place called Intreso and Seripe. They are all in the Bole area. That's the Bole district. You know, I keep telling you that the things up north there are mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And so my minister, his place is very rich. Or to use my favorite term, very sweet. So Ghana Manganese is doing exploration in Intreso and Seripe. They are all in the Bole district. So there's manganese, there's lithium. Of course, we have bauxite. We've had our main mine since 1941. So if you go to the entire Yinani, there's bauxite there. You go to Etiwa, that area too, there's bauxite. So we have manganese, we have bauxite, we have lithium. And then, interestingly, one of the green minerals which is also being sought after seriously, just like lithium, is graphite. When we were young, we were told that it's used in making lead in pencil. They need that a lot in those batteries.
And we have that.
There's a serious exploration going on the outskirts of Wa. They found it, but now they need to do more exploration to define the resource properly. So at least you can talk about bauxite, manganese, lithium, graphite. And then Otiwa I come from. There's a potential to find lead, zinc, nickel and coal. All those things, there are traces there now. We just have to spend a lot of money and do exploration, and we will uncover them. The lithium in a way, 6 years. So it's a reconnaissance license, 6 years aggressive exploration, spending over $50 million. This is where it has come to. So sometimes too, when we say, oh, we don't own the mines, it's our behavior. Because how many Ghanaians are prepared to come together and put in $40-50 million in exploration over the years? You will go and do real estate or farm.
Why does the state, why won't it make sense for the state to spend a lot of money on this, own the data, and use it as a basis to even have shareholding in some of these things?
The state has started. They've been doing this for years. Can you believe that this lithium thing, the report has been there for centuries? But nobody cared about it because it was not something anybody wanted until technology changed everything. So right now, Geological Survey is doing a lot of investigations for a whole lot of minerals. The government is funding that. Yes, so there are so many areas we've blocked out, and then a lot of exploration is going on. So that is it. So we are good to go. The only thing is that we will need to develop a strategy to ensure that we tap into the entire chain so that we don't treat it the way we've treated gold over the years. I'll tell you something interesting about Australia. 2019 critical mineral strategy. 2022 they came with a new one. Now here they've started a discussion paper to develop a new strategy. So within a matter of 3 or so years, they are developing a new critical mineral strategy. Other countries have developed. So we are also putting together one. And it is no longer going to be business as usual. When I say business as usual, it's no longer going to be like dig and send it raw. For example, what is extraordinary about the one in Ewoya, it is not only lithium you have in there, they have FESPA, premium, high-grade FESPA. That is one of the mineral or raw material for ceramics. So we are not going to allow the FESPA to be exported, it to be used. So the likes of Twyford and Co can buy it. Because currently they pick those things from the small-scale artisanal miners who dig all over for kaolin and FESPA. So that's one. You see, if the quantity there is so big and it can support maybe one day, one factory, why not? But you see, you don't only use FESPA for ceramics. You use about 5 minerals. Limestone, use clay, use kaolin, which they get from the bauxite area. So you have a lot of kaolin, you have a lot of clay. So we are thinking of a use for the premium, what do you call it, FESPA, and there's a use for it, ceramics. Then there's also quartz, which can be used to make glass. So if the quantity that can be produced there is enough to support a glass factory, we can have 1D, 1F at Ewoya or Saltpond, depending on the other project economies. So already we have plans for the quartz, we have plans for the FESPA. It's not going out.
All right. Okay. So Martin, we have to
wrap up.
Yes.
And then next week we'll continue on that. And we'll look at how the chain looks like.
Yes.
So I'll take you through. I mean, lithium, what do you do to it when you dig it up?
Okay, so do us this favor next week. I'd appreciate it if, for example, we're able to show our viewers the map of Ghana.
And then the minerals.
And the green coast of Ghana.
Where you have these green minerals?
Yes, where you have them, at least what we've seen now. So you can show us where exploration is going on, where you've made some significant findings, which mineral is exactly at which place.
And how the geology looks like.
Yes.
Anyway, that's fine. Yes. By the way, the geology of Ghana is available at Mincom. We sell these things. Yes, but I'll take the public through.
So that once we're showing it, you can speak to
the issue.
Yes,
okay.
the issue.
And then I'll promise you to come and show you the new resettlement in the north for Cardinal.
Yes.
Yeah, so next week I'll spend the 5 minutes, we'll discuss that.
All right.
And then we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Okay.
So thanks for joining.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Right. When are you going to be on Original?
Original will be
FM.
Tuesday.
91.9. So
Tuesday.
next Tuesday.
Next week Tuesday in the afternoon.
Okay. You'll be on with part 2 from 2.
So we'll talk about this too.
Okay.
And for the tree account version.
Yes. All right. Okay.
All right.
So thanks, Martin, for joining.
But why is everything tree by us?
I don't understand. We are speaking English.
We do English here, and then we do tree on Asempa.
Yes.
We do tree on Original.
Maybe you should add.
No, we are now doing some of the rural areas.
Stations.
But then you see, we should be able to do Gan and then Ewe too.
Okay, so
because I speak read write Ewe. I speak read write Gan.
You are a Lagos town boy.
So yeah, born bred in
But
Newtown.
a lot of people don't know Lagos town. They know Newtown.
Accra Newtown. I was born and bred in Accra Newtown. So maybe I may have to link up with GBC to see whether Obonu we can.
Or Latena.
Yeah, Latena.
Yeah, Latena is Allah.
Like, hey, then I'll do many of these explanations.
Okay. But we have a grand show on Original, hosted by Abega.
You didn't tell me.
Yeah, so we can do the gown on Original.
Yes.
Abega has a show. It's on Saturdays.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yes.
I'll make
time. We can do the gown.
So all these are local content stuff and all these things we've discussed over. We'll run it.
So we can do the gown.
Yes.
So I'll sort it out. So we do.
And then I may have to find time and go and do the error one.
In fact, the error I can create it for you.
Just do that.
I can do it for you.
Yes.
This is
because there are some fantastic things coming up.
It's a critically green initiative.
We should have green language. there are a lot of things popping up in Volta region too.
Right.
So it's important we take the education to them too. Fortunately, I speak read write away.
Yes.
So create one for me for the Ewe station.
Me, I'm
create the Gan one.
I'm super Ewe, so
create the Gan one,
yes.
and then practically I have every tribe working in Minerals Commission.
Okay.
So I don't speak Dagati, Kokomba, or their ones. I'll bring those
no,
ones.
No, I'll create all for you.
So by the time we finish the year, we'll have spoken all the languages. And
Very
that's
important.
That's what people want.
Very important.
And we'll do it.
All right. Okay. All right. Thanks, Martin, for joining me.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching. We'll be with you next Thursday for another interesting discussion with the Minerals Commission. Up next, Metro Sports.